Amazingly impassioned speech. We are broadcasting live, Broadcasting Scotland as well as Independence Live are putting this out on social media, and Independence Live are currently crowdfunding to keep getting you the news that you're not seeing on mainstream television. It is a beautiful day for the first ever Glasgow Believe in Scotland March and Rally. Today has been produced by Believe in Scotland in partnership with Pensioners for Independence, and I'm sure many of you remember that beautiful day in September in Edinburgh where we marched down the Royal Mile and had the most wonderful uplifting day. This was in partnership with Yes for EU. Our European connections are so important. Brexit was an unmitigated disaster. Our European connections remains integral to who we are, our traditions, customs, culture, songs and traditions, and is part of the independence movement, a central part of it. We are not the ISO-nationalist Little Britain that the UK government says that we are, which is why I am so excited to announce that Young Scots for Independence is holding its second annual international conference. Down at the front here is Olaf Stando, as well as some of the committee members who are hosting this conference in Stirling on the 17th and 18th of May. They are bringing over 30 European young leaders over to Stirling, putting them up, putting on workshops, socials, panel discussions with MPs and MSPs, and this conference is such a great opportunity for us to reach young activists in major European political parties from as far as Germany. So, the conference led by Olaf Stando, who is here in the crowd, is a passionate cause for Scottish independence, but it's also about us learning from other European countries on how to build a progressive politics. There is a cost involved, and the Young Scots for Independence have been working really hard to fundraise for this. If you see Olaf here today, there's flyers where you can get a little bit more information about the conference. And if you are 16 to 30 years old, you can still join and become a delegate and come along to the conference. Have a Google YSI, our European Future Conference. So, on to our next guest. Do you want the good news or the bad news? The good news is that the next speaker is brilliant. The bad news is that you now have two Ionas. Iona Soper writes and presents for Secure Scotland and works at Solidarity Against Neoliberal Extremism with Peace Education Scotland. Iona is a former resident of the Faslane Peace Camp. And is passionate about a Scotland without nuclear weapons. Iona is a proud resident of Glasgow, and for the last 3 years she's been working more closely on issues of radical democracy and social movement building within the city. Please give a huge round of applause for Iona Soper.
Hello Glasgow. My name is Iona, my pronouns are she, her, and I believe that Scottish independence is inevitable. And that may be the most optimistic thing I've ever said. I'm mostly conscious that I don't have much time, so just take the optimism, savour it as it passes you by, because it's the last you're going to get from me. I want to talk about what happens after we attain our freedom, because for me, it would be a colossal own goal for Scotland to gain our independence, only to replicate on a smaller scale the policies that we've freed ourselves from. The policies that privatise everything from human welfare to climate action. Policies that do not serve the people. And I think this speaks on a number of issues, whether that's the way we organise our housing or our health or our immigration. But I've been invited here today to speak about a subject that none of us can ignore right now, and that's war. I've been a vocal member of the anti-nuclear movement for about 8 years, and the independence movement has been a consistent stronghold for us, as well as a vital part of our strategy. Our independence offers us the unique opportunity to disarm a nuclear state from within, supported by the 70 countries that have already ratified the United Nations Nuclear Ban Treaty. Our rejection of weapons of mass destruction is a key part of us forming our own international identity, and our Parliament's commitment to it is to be commended. Our stubbornness can be a flaw, but it's also one of our greatest strengths. But it doesn't take us far enough. Everyone here today is aware of the ongoing genocide in Gaza, the destruction of hospitals and targeting of aid convoys, engineered mass displacement and widespread famine, the highest daily death rate we've seen in any conflict of my lifetime. In Yemen, over 21 million remain in need of humanitarian aid. More than 4 million children are not in school, and over half of this number are suffering from acute malnutrition. In Ukraine, where schools and hospitals have also been targeted, 6 million have fled, leaving 4 million internally displaced. Now, last year, I was part of a Scottish delegation to northeast Syria, where I witnessed the legacies and realities of war following the Syrian civil conflict, the subsequent occupation of the Islamic State, and the current aggression and occupation of the Turkish. Rivers are dammed up and water sources are contaminated. The desertified landscapes are bare of trees. Electricity, when available, is tightly rationed. All cars have their seatbelts removed so that you can always make a quick exit. We see under-resourced resettlement and refugee camps. We see under-resourced prison camps, mass graveyards for the fallen, and orphanages for children with unique ailments from exposure to chemical weapons. This is what war looks like. It is not problem solving. It is not international relations. It is a humanitarian disgrace. The leaders who seek to enact their dominance in this way believe that they can do so with impunity. The British government affirms this belief on the geopolitical front, offering the bare minimum or less in terms of international solidarity, but critically, at least in the cases of Israel and Saudi Arabia and Russia and Turkey, the UK government has actively profited from the sale of arms production and export licenses to these nations. How can we expect a parliament that runs its own government as a business model to make decisions along ethical or humanitarian lines so long as they maintain this conflict of interest? And how can any nation that wants to operate in this way call itself civilised? Scotland is not immune. We're quick to denounce the conflicts, but we're just as quick to defend our own arms industry, even in the face of them manufacturing parts for nuclear weapons, even in the face of atrocities such as we've seen in recent months. If there is one message for Scotland's future that people here can take away from me speaking today, it is this. There are better things for Scotland's economy than dead children. There are better things for Scotland's economy than torture. There are better things for Scotland's economy than genocide. We have seen what is possible when united Scottish workers down their tools and refuse to be complicit in war crimes. Our stubbornness can be a flaw, but it is also our greatest strength. Here's a lesson you learn quickly when living at the Faslane Peace Camp. Self-determination comes with responsibility. An independent Scotland must make a clean break with all forms of British imperialism. Opposing nukes is great, but it's not enough. We must reject the industry of arms for profit and diversify those skills, technologies and workforce to support other key industries. Our independence should not isolate us internationally. Rather, it is a chance for us to finally shake hands with other nations with our wrists free of shackles and take accountability for ourselves. It's a chance to develop a model for a Western nation that acts not like the bully in the playground, or not like the pompous kid who broke the vending machine so he could sell sweets at an inflated rate, and not like the kid who stands by and accepts these behaviours as inevitable. Scotland deserves better, and the world deserves better from us. Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic. Please give a massive round of applause to Iona Soper. Soper! The passion, such an incredible speaker. Absolutely brilliant. Now, before I go on to the next guest, we thought it'd be interesting to find out where everybody is from. See where you've all travelled from today. What was that, Oban? I love it. The guy in the front, brand new. Anybody here from Inverness? Right corner, put your hands together, Inverness. Where?